Against all odds, human milk banks thrive in the most rural settings. We are standing in the Kalafong Breastmilk Bank. This was the first facility we have ever established in the human milk banking stables of the South African Breastmilk Reserve. Kalafong was established in 2008, and since then we raised money through the Discovery Foundation to be able to renovate the original breast milk banking room to what you see now is a state-of-the-art clean room within the cafeteria in the dietetics building of Kalafong Hospital. This breast milk bank feeds an average of 500 premature babies a year with the support of 3 breast milk handlers that visit the wards in the hospital and encourage mothers to donate their breast milk. As you can see in the breast milk bank, we have very basic equipment such as a breast milk pasteurizer, 2 chest freezers and a fridge. But really the asset is the breast milk that we collect. And so human milk banking is not only an effort where we collect donated breast milk, but also is an essential breastfeeding initiative, or an initiative that promotes breastfeeding within a hospital so that we can promote exclusively breastfed environments in the neonatal intensive care units. The role the breast milk bank plays is that it decreases necrotizing enterocolitis and sepsis for premature babies. So as you'll see shortly, our target population is the very low birth weight and extremely low birth weight baby that is oftentimes born at 500 grams.
So this is our KMC unit, the Kangaroo Mother Care Unit. So this unit forms part of the step down that we have for all of the babies who are discharged from the ICU or high care unit. So this enables us to remove the babies from a high infection rate area to essentially an area that's supposed to be infection free, where they can then grow. So the mothers are then kept with the babies, so we call it rooming in, and the mother then has access to the baby 24 hours and she can then do what we call the mother care, kangaroo mother care, where she keeps the baby on her skin.
Every time after she finishes eating, she sleeps.
She's a sleepy baby, yeah. You know, I look at me and say, I just want to go to bed now.
And then she grows fast that way, hey?
So the Kangaroo Mother Care Unit actually enables us also to get the babies to receive breast milk only. When you separate mothers and babies, the mothers tend to not have enough milk, which means that you either then have to give them some bank milk or you're going to have to give them formula. So by keeping them together, we're actually trying to prevent that and using only the breast milk. Also enables us to get more milk from the mothers, and this is how we pool milk for our milk bank, because the mothers are on site. It's less stressful for them. They don't have to travel up and down, and doesn't cost them money to do so. And then we find that they have milk and sometimes extra, so that we can then also use that for our milk bank.
I will be so more than happy to donate, and I've been donating since, basically, and helping someone, other mother that struggles the way I did. I had my twin boys born on the 1st of April, premature, 35 weeks. When after they were born, I struggled with milk, and I'd applied for donors. So I actually just used 1 bottle of donor milk.
Most of the time the babies, they don't even get sick, because most of the time prematures, if they're not on KMC, they tend to be cold, they experience the apneic attacks. But the babies in KMC, they don't experience apneic attacks, they get warm all the time. And then our babies, mothers and babies, they don't complain of milk production. They are always have enough milk. They will never say, sister, I don't have enough milk. So the milk production is always good on a mother who's complying to Kangaroo Mother Care. So it's a big benefit, because these babies, they need to eat and then grow.
It is very effective. You control their body temperature and you bond with them. You can immediately feel when something's not right, the way they move, the way they breathe. it's definitely experience, and it's very helpful. The people here are so nice. The things they teach you, and they really teach you the necessities that you actually will need to use from home. I did not have this experience with my firstborn, so I'm very grateful for the people working here and everything that they teach us. It really is very, very helpful.
We are standing in the neonatal intensive care unit of Kalafong Hospital, where the true miracle happens every day, where against all odds, very low birth weight and extremely low birth weight babies are admitted to survive the first few crucial days of life. When we talk about an extremely low birth weight infant, we're talking about babies that are born weighing as little as 500 grams. And this is where the value of donated breast milk really comes into relief. We understand the crucial role that breastfeeding plays to the survival of neonatal babies and very low birth weight babies, but also the crucial role that the donation of breast milk plays in promoting the survival of babies whose mothers are too ill to lactate, or they themselves are in ICU due to complications of pregnancy and due to failing maternal health. So this is where every day we make ourselves relevant and we show the value that breastfeeding brings to saving the lives of the most vulnerable children. So we're here today at the Mankweng Hospital Breast Milk Bank. This is the first breast milk bank that the Department of Health in Limpopo launched in 2016 with the South African Breastmilk Reserve. And I have with me Daddy Matthews. He is the Deputy Director for Nutrition for the Provincial Department of Health of Limpopo. But I know him to be a convinced and adamant breastfeeding activist in favor of breastfeeding for all children. And so today we want to have a chat with Daddy about the value that human milk banking brings, not only to the hospital environment and the community, but also to the communities at large, countrywide. Welcome, Daddy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit more about what is the stance of the province and the health system on the importance of breast milk banking for neonates, but breastfeeding for full-term babies as well.
Well, firstly, what I would like to say is we are pro-breastfeeding in this province, in the province of Limpopo, and we support, we protect, and we would like to make it a point that all mothers within the province understand how important it is for them to breastfeed their children from age 0 up until they are 24 months old. And we try our best to make it a point that all of our mothers that visit our health facilities understand how important it is for them to feed their infants or feed their children breast milk. Now, the introduction of the breast milk bank in the province has significantly assisted us to make it a point that all of our facilities are gearing up towards having to have and to understand the importance of breastfeeding. So, to us as a province, the value of breast milk banks in our province is going to really assist us to further encourage mothers who are also within the communities, who are in our communities, to further understand the importance of breastfeeding, for them to also make it a point that they encourage other mothers and support other mothers, support also the household members within the community, for them to understand the importance of breastfeeding. So the introduction of breast milk banks in our province will assist us to also reduce the infant mortality in the province. It will also assist us to reduce our neonatal deaths in the province, and it will make it a point that our budget that was supposed to be used for breast milk substitute, it's no longer going to be used for that, but it's further used for other things within the province, because we will be breastfeeding. We will be using the milk that has been donated by mothers within communities, mothers within households, to come and feed babies that are within our communities. And again, economically, remember that these babies will be fed breast milk and they will grow to be better, understanding human beings. And education-wise, they will be performing very well at school. And ultimately, the country will be doing well economically. We'll have people who are going back to school, who finish their matric, go back to university, and come back and plow back within their own communities. Therefore, making sure that our economy grows and goes further and further.
Sure. And just tell us a little bit also for the listeners to understand what the value, the life-saving value that breast milk brings compared to formula, and the risks that are associated often with formula feeding in communities.
We all know that breast milk is one of the best milk that we can ever give to our babies. If you look at breast milk will help the babies to grow very well, get all the nutrients. They are fed breast milk at the right temperature. The breast milk will give them all the nutrients that they need. They will also, it will also help them to line up and line the inside of their alimentary canal and their stomachs also, and therefore that will help them not to have, problems with their gastrointestinal problems.
Yes.
And they will be growing up to be better and
healthier.
Healthier and evade a lot of diseases.
Yes.
Because they'll be getting a lot of nutrients.
Because it's the first vaccine, right?
Of course, yes.
Of course, it's the first vaccine. I mean, the breast milk, it is also a way out of poverty for our communities, because a lot of communities, and I think a lot of our listeners that are following the development sector in South Africa realize that access to water and sanitation is not equal for all, and it's something we're working on. Yes. But in the context, for instance, of a drought, or when we don't have access to regular water, breastfeeding saves lives.
Of course, our province is a rural area.
Yes.
We don't normally have enough water coming through to our households, and therefore preparation of breast milk substitute will really cost mothers quite a lot. And they'll have to make fire, they'll have to go fetch water, therefore the household chores will not be done. Taking care of the babies will not also take as they should be doing. So that will cost them quite a lot compared to just taking out their breast and giving it
putting
to
the baby on the breast.
So it will be very free compared to going to retailers and buying breast milk substitute. Preparation of breast milk substitute costs them because they need energy, they need water, they need fire, they need electricity. That will really cost them a lot compared to breastfeeding.
I think we also need to remember that during the COVID era, we have seen that there has been an impact on breastfeeding. We saw this nationally. We see that Limpopo is a very well breastfed province. But we have seen on the territory that due to the repurposing of some hospital facilities and access restrictions, the breastfeeding rates have been impacted, and also because of access control. So I think an important role that human milk banking has played during this time has been precisely around supporting babies that might have been orphaned because of COVID, or whose mothers themselves are in intensive care and therefore unable to breastfeed their own babies, or on medications which are contraindicated for lactation. And in that space, we found renewed purpose. Sadly, in the space of a pandemic, but it proved to be quite an essential aspect of expanding breastfeeding through awareness and human milk banking. And I hope we'll be able to recover as a country to the breastfeeding rates which we were able to show before the pandemic, and that we are becoming cognizant and aware of that as we go along. And we've now opened Philadelphia Hospital Breastmilk Bank, which we saw last couple of weeks ago. In fact, to date has fed nearly 100 very low birth weight infants. 3, 2, And then we can unveil.
Thank you. Let's unveil. Let's unveil. Let's unveil. Here we are. And this is Miss Charlotte Makleke, human being. I'm sure she's smiling in to say now during this pandemic of COVID-19, mothers are so scared. If a mother gets infected, they don't even want to come closer to their baby. Even though we encourage them, wear your mask, wash and breastfeed, they're afraid. But this milk becomes handy. And those mothers, what about those who end up in ICU, who end up being ventilated? How are we going to feed their babies? This bank comes in handy. So I can tell you, I can do anything for women, especially this one dedicated to Charlotte Makleke. We're saying one of the women who ever existed in our country. 150 years ago, she was born, and I'm sure, I still repeat what I said earlier on, I'm sure her mother did breastfeed her. Otherwise, she will not be having that intellectual capacity that she had. So we really are proud and we're happy, and thank you to all the team. Let's continue to do the good work. As long as it involves mothers and babies, count me in.
I think, something that perhaps we can also look at, it's also the risk of necrotizing enterocolitis in the very low birth weight population, A lot of the times I think there is this misunderstanding with the people that are watching our work, mine, yours, and the work of our colleagues in breastfeeding, that think that we are fancy and we like something bohemian in our children's mouths, but they, I think, often do not realize how militantly pro-breastfeeding we are, because we understand its value as medicine, as a life-saving medicine, as what decreases infection, disease, mortality, morbidity. It's not just because we think it's nice to have breast milk in a baby's mouth, but it's a must-have if we're also going to then mitigate issues around malnutrition and stunting in children further on.
The many properties that it has is the nutritional value that it has for our baby, enhancing their growth. Neurodevelopmentally, these babies are much stronger. And in comparison to formula-fed babies, our breastfeeding babies do much better. We promote that in our unit. Breastfeeding has also advantages in the sense that it is affordable to our moms. It's easy to handle, it's easy to prepare, it doesn't require preparation as you would compare to formula. For those moms who are reliant on donor breast milk, there's a large group of patients, especially in our ICU setting, who really benefit. So it reduces the risk, for instance, for necrotizing enterocolitis, which is many of the conditions that we manage for our babies, and especially our premature babies. Also, we do use it in the babies that are HIV exposed, whose moms are unable to feed, and it also has many good immunological properties that benefits the baby and mom. And the most important thing, which I haven't even mentioned, is bonding. The bonding that it creates between mom and child, just from breastfeeding and its techniques as well.
In the era of COVID, you've seen that a lot of people have stayed home during lockdown, unable to visit most of our hospitals. Yes. But we've seen babies with necrotizing enterocolitis coming through and surviving. In this hospital, yes. Currently, we have fed quite a lot of babies. We have seen the infant mortality coming down, and we have seen that babies in this hospital survive and go home and end up with their mothers at home.
The situation with COVID and the reality that we're facing around access restrictions, and oftentimes, we live on a beautiful, large piece of land, and tertiary facilities can be far from the homes of moms. And it was in that moment that I realized that when a woman, for a variety of reasons, COVID being the primary one, is sent home not breastfeeding, that means that child will never have access to breast milk at all throughout its childhood, and that really limits the child's possibility to survive and thrive. And it's an important realization, I think, that we all have to make as healthcare professionals, that come in the next few months, and especially now that we're approaching World Breastfeeding Week, we have to reinvest in re-educating our healthcare forces in supporting breastfeeding, COVID or no COVID, you know.
I would like to thank the South African Breastmilk Reserve for the resources that they have, shared with us as a province, and the knowledge that they have shared with us as a province. We have gained so much by just being in a partnership with you, and we believe that we're still going to be opening more and more of our breast milk banks. This is only our second one that we have, but we will be moving forward to having more of our breast milk banks in the province.
The province of Limpopo has invested some of the biggest, state-of-the-art funding into creating some really, really special spaces. I know that if you go around the country, and I often wonder what the minister thinks when he sees this bank and then he sees another bank, but you guys have invested in two of top breast milk banks. And in fact, the investment not only in the soft renovations and the equipment, but it also reflects in how prolific these freezers are. And at the moment, you are not only feeding these two hospitals, but if I am not mistaken, we are feeding four hospitals in the public sector and one in the private sector.
Yes.
So this is an investment that has stretched a lot further and beyond its monetary value to actually catch other facilities. But we were also really enjoyed cooperating with you guys. We've learned a lot. We're working with the Department of Health. Has been a real learning curve, and the collaboration has been amazing for us. On the learning level, what we learned is that against all odds, human milk banks thrive in the most rural settings, you know, and where oftentimes some would argue that this is only something that can work in urban centers. What we learned is that come hell or high water, we can make a breast milk bank work in the most rural settings and in the most successful way. So thank you so much for your time, Daddy, today. And I wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you.